to thank Mr. Abdul Aziz and Mr. Kosh for allowing me to be here today to speak about entrepreneurs. And second of all, I would like to say that I decided to move to Saudi Arabia after 2 days of conference, hearing about the success in Saudi, and I think I'm needed there more than the UAE. And then to start with, I started Nexus in 2009 after an internship for around 6 to 8 months at the British Embassy in Abu Dhabi. As a commercial officer, I realized the need of expertise in the UAE market. You have investors coming from the UK, and let me take the UK as it's the real experience I faced, thinking that they would be able to establish companies in 1 day or 2 days like back in the UK, while in reality it takes around 1 to 6 months to establish businesses in the UAE depending on the activity required on the license. When I started the business, and I never thought I would have been an entrepreneur. You know how we are as Gulf girls, we are all spoiled, thinking about shopping and having fun and traveling around. I met this lawyer who told me, Saad, don't you think you should establish a business that will allow and assist companies who's looking to explore the market? I told him, why not? Let's open it. So what, a business one day? I would like you guys to know that once you open your own business, it's a really different experience. You really feel involved in everything, in every decision. You feel you have responsibility. You start being yourself. You don't learn until you do this thing yourself. Like when I set up my company, or thought like we have PROs who can do the processes, my dad told me, you better go down to the field and do it yourself. And when I went to the field, you don't know how much disaster it was. Obtaining approvals and obtaining and achieving the license and, within the authorities is not an easy process, especially with the barrier in language. And people think from abroad that, even with all my respect to lawyers, if any are here, international law firms coming, doing all the documents and paperwork for their clients, think that, as you mentioned earlier, that those templates back in the UK or in the States can be used in the UAE, while in the UAE it's a different templates that are needed and that are approved in the market, where I know companies that have spent thousands of dollars with law firms that have taken 1 to 2 years to set up their businesses, and at the end of the day, honestly, all the paperwork was wrong. And that's why it's very important for investors who are looking to move to the UAE to know exactly what paperwork is needed, to know that all the paperwork has to be notarized, legalized at the UAE embassy, at the mother country, at the Department of State, or at the commercial state office, has to know which activity are they going to use. And before doing all of this, they need to know whether there is a need for their item in the market. Most of the clients, when they come to you, they tell me, Saad, we want to do a project. Okay, you want to do a project, you don't have an office in the UAE. You cannot just do a project in the UAE. If you were in a free zone, then you can work within a free zone. But usually in the UAE, you need to have an onshore office, which means you have to have a license approved at from the Department of Economic Development, from the Chamber of Commerce, from the Ministry of Economy, in order to be allowed to bid for huge projects, for example, with the Supreme Petroleum Council at ADNOC, with the Departments of Transport, with the federal government. It's not that easy. Also, something that's very important that people need to know is that networks, connections. We in the Arab world is all about who you know and how to do. If you know, for example, if I know Dr. Alama knows Ahmed knows Saad. Even me as my business, I usually get my clients from referrals. So someone comes from Saudi, and thanks to some of the people who are available here in the audience, who usually refer to me clients who are looking to explore opportunities in the market. And this is how usually in the Arab world clients come from.
I want you to talk about the challenges that you had in the community to be able to move from being protected onto the family into a world where you were interacting with the whole of society. So was it challenging? Were there any challenges?
Let's start first by explaining the definition of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is not something that you can learn. I think it's a gift from God. Dealing with people, having the will to learn, having the will to help, having the will to explore, and to really believe in what you do. I always tell people, I started Nexus, and Nexus is my baby. And I do remember when I started Nexus in 2009, my own brother used to make fun of me. They say, you think you'll be successful? You will never even get a client who wants to use you. You are just 21 when I set up my business. I do remember going to the notary, and the notary told me that you cannot sign unless your dad comes and signs for you. And I told him, no, I will wait until the 25th of June passes. And then I went after 2 days to sign because I didn't want anyone of the family to be part of the business. To be honest with you, the challenges are very tough. Being as a Khaliji woman and having let me talk about myself. I have 9 brothers, and to convince 9 brothers is really a challenge. I don't want to go in details. Most of the crowd is, and I hope the media doesn't write it. So, I also believe that, I had a huge support from my parents. My dad is a very educated person. Education plays a role in the family. He believes that education is a very important aspect of life. Marriage is also important, family is important, but it's all faith and it all comes by time. As much as we are convinced and knowing the barriers and knowing our limits, then there is nothing that should stop us. And I do believe that we always have to fight to achieve what we want. And I really did fight. I was telling Dr. Alama yesterday, I fought so badly, and I reached 70% in my fitness career. Let me see and bring it in this way. In order to reach where I reach now and to get the opportunities to speak in these conferences and to travel abroad. I do remember it took me literally 2 years, 1 year of lying and 1 year of reality to say to my parents, to say to my brothers actually, not my parents, that I'm going to travel alone. It's just how hard it is. But it takes time. If I come and compare my brothers 10 years ago and now, it's really a difference. They really believed in me. They saw that I'm independent. They saw that people believe in me. They saw how much successful I was. They saw how many awards I have achieved, receiving the Young Achiever Award by the American Chamber of Commerce this year in the UAE. They actually started pushing me. And I believe that, it's going to change, but it needs time. It needs the support from the culture. Being in the UAE culture, I think we are more in advance, and I see a lot of successful people in high position. We have Sheikh Ibn al-Qasmi, we have ambassadors abroad, we have judges. Even, most of the boards are going to start hiring Emirati women. We have successful women everywhere, from Dubai, from Abu Dhabi. If I start mentioning names, I wouldn't have stopped. So I think within the GCC, we are the leaders in the UAE, and I think that the rest of the countries will be the followers. Of course, Kuwait and Bahrain is one of the leaders also, with the women in the parliaments and everything. But I think it's also, it's just a matter of time.
Okay.